the Los Angeles Dodgers. I think he gets dealt. It's a matter of what package do teams put together, and can you now imagine if the Yankees did that, adding Garrett Cole already, putting Arenado in that lineup? Wowie, oh wowie. Holy Toledo Batman. Manhattan would never be the same. Neither would the Bronx. So we'll keep our eye on Nolan Arenado. We'll keep our eye on that trade buzz surrounding him, and we'll see where it goes. I'm going to be calling Kevin Hastings in a few minutes. I'm giving him time to, coming from a Yankee fan, of course I'd love to see him in New York. But it makes a lot of sense, and they have prospects to send and Major League ready players to send. St. Louis, if I'm the Rockies, and again, Nolan Arenado, folks. I mean, this is like Boston trading Mookie Betts or Lindor. This is one of the premier players, and if I'm trading him, I want a price to be paid. I'm going to demand from the Yankees Florial, Garcia, Andujar, maybe Urshela. I'm going to demand a hefty price. If I'm dealing with the Cardinals, I want Jack Flaherty. I don't really want Dakota Hudson. I want someone Major League ready, comp out with Nolan Arenado. And do I think if the Cardinals can make the deal with the Dakota Hudson and not a Jack Flaherty, should they do it? Cha-ching! You pull that lever right now if you're St. Louis. But if I'm Colorado, I want the best package. So what I think is probably happening is the Rockies are shopping. What is the best deal we can get? And I haven't even mentioned Atlanta. Lenny talked about that on his show. I'll just summarize and say Atlanta also has the farm system to support the trade. Here's the problem there. Atlanta's been hesitant to spend money on free agents. Or to, here not a free agent, but a trade that involves a contract similar to signing a marquee name free agent. But I got to believe they're in the chatter. I got to believe that's why Josh Donaldson has not signed with Atlanta. Because certainly if the Braves get Nolan Arenado, they don't need Josh Donaldson. So let's talk about over the weekend the third base position. It got just a little bit thinner. Todd Frazier. And I don't think Todd Frazier is a top 10 third baseman. I don't. I do think he's a Texas Ranger. He signed a 1-year, $5 million deal. And the Rangers are still in pursuit of Nicholas Castellanos. He'll get $3.5 million, this is Frazier, this year, a $5.75 million club buyout for 2021, or club option rather, or a $1.5 million buyout. So he's either going to get $5 million, the buyout included, and this year, or wind up with in excess of a little over $9 million over the 2 years. And so Texas continues, they say, efforts to get the aforementioned Nolan Arenado. One of the players, and you've heard me mention him, Lenny mentioned him briefly, Sam Huff, not the football player. Sam Huff, the most valuable player of the Futures game last year, who spent all of last season playing for the High A Down East Wood Ducks, which is about 20 minutes from my home. I've seen Sam Huff play, 50 games last year. Not a small sample size. Sam Huff is a player. He can catch. He can play first. He runs pretty well, but he can hit. He can really hit. He's probably about 6'2", 6'3", but the kid has a bat. Texas is high on him. Look, last year, beginning of the year, Sam Huff was probably their 25th or so ranked prospect. Now he's way up in their top 5. That's what a great season can do for you. So, the other important part of that puzzle is, as much as I like Sam Huff, having seen him play as often as I have, a kid with a great work ethic too. I get to the ballpark early. We like doing that, don't we? We get there early. He's out there working with trainers. He's out there working with coaches on his technique. He comes over. He's very, very fan-friendly. If you want a Sam Huff autograph, I got plenty. His attitude is in the right place. And so now Texas would deal him. Colorado's intrigued by him. Lenny posted John Morosi, an Arenado trade is more likely than any other stars. Totally agree with that, Lenny. Everything I'm reading corroborates that 100%. This letting up. So I think what's going to happen is when one piece falls, Arenado, then we're going to see other pieces fall too. I personally do not think Josh Donaldson signs until we know where Arenado falls. And I say that because if Atlanta is in Pache or whoever they're going to send, Ian Anderson, whoever they're sending or thinking about sending over an Arenado trade, I think that has to have some resolution before we know what's going to happen to Josh Donaldson. Certainly, if Atlanta loses out on Arenado and they don't send the package over, and they got it, guys. They got the players to send too. I mean, the Braves, the Yankees, the Cardinals, the Rangers have great pitching prospects, and as I just said, Colorado's intrigued with Sam Huff as a bat. Now, he's not Major League ready. So, my suggestion is Willie Calhoun becomes a Rocky if Texas lands Arenado, then they move Todd Frazier to first base. And they are very right-handed power-wise in Texas, especially if they then also get Castellanos. So, again, if he goes one place, Donaldson's going somewhere else. All of a sudden, Donaldson could be... I don't think Donaldson's going to New York, okay? I think then Donaldson either becomes a Ranger or a Brave, depending on if Castellanos lands in one of those other places. So, Todd Frazier, 9-year veteran, 2-time All-Star in 2014-2015. Hit .251 with 21 homers for the Metropolitans last season. He had a .329 on base percentage, a .443 slug. Frazier did hit .294 with a .540 slug against lefties last year, only .234 against right-handers. So now Isaiah Kiner-Falea and Nick Solak will compete for a spot as a utility player off the bench. Remember, this year, I've said it before, it's no longer a 25-man roster, it's a 26-man roster. So both Isaiah Kiner-Falea and Nick Solak have a legitimate shot to make the Rangers option. Not fantasy relevant, but reality relevant. Frazier, is he a fantasy player that you try to get? Now remember, let's look at who he's playing against. 19 games against Houston. No lefties. Seattle, bring it on. Oakland, a lot of lefties in that rotation. Montas, a right-hander, but otherwise you got Manaea. You got Luzardo, lefties. I think this Frazier signing is a coy move on behalf of the Rangers, and I think Frazier could hit 30 home runs next year in Texas. And depending on Castellanos coming into that lineup, you give him more. The more healthy bats you have, the better they're going to do, right? So I like what Texas is doing. I like what they did with the Kluber, the chance they took there. Remember, the Rangers did not have a proven player at third base. They may wind up with two. Now, I know last year's draft, they're the 8th pick overall in the amateur draft, Josh Young, who is the number 1 prospect for Texas, and, oh, by the way, is a third baseman. They also have a prospect, Davis Wenzel, and Sheraton Apostle, but these guys are 2 years away, which makes the Frazier ad that much better. Lenny's posted top 10 strikeouts, projections: Cole, Scherzer, Verlander, DeGrom, Clevenger, Bauer, Sale, Strasburg, Flaherty, Walker, Buehler. There's Flaherty again, and I just don't see St. Louis letting him go anywhere. We'll have to see. I was reading also that the Rangers, if they get Castellanos, might he move back to third base? I don't see it. He's almost played exclusively right field the past 2 seasons when he's not DH'd. He did play third base earlier in his career. He hasn't played third at all since 2017. Any thoughts that Castellanos may go to Texas and play third base, I think, is incorrect. Castellanos, yet another free agent Texas is interested in. He's hit .347 over the past 3 years against lefties. 5th best in all of Major League Baseball with a minimum of 300 plate appearances. And his .620 slug is 7th best. So the Rangers are looking to combat the left-handed pitching that they will see in the American League West with these right-handed bats. I like what they're doing. We'll see how it goes, right? Welcome to the chat room once again. I went through this earlier. We've got, anytime I see more than 10 active users in the chat room, I'm excited. We've got more than 10 right now after starting the show. You've hung with me that long. Andrea, Clarona, Dale, Doug Boyle, Lenny, Mal Powell, NYC, Phil Chaplin, Rotorius, Kevin Hastings, Stephen Hart, and Guest Jr. You know, if you're guesting in the chat room, we're glad to have you. Welcome to the family. Lenny Melnick, FantasySports.com, where you will find the best podcasters. I love listening to these guys, okay? But we love to know who you are. So I tell you what would make it great, because then we can have a real chat, right? So Guest Jr., register. Let us know who you are in the chat room. And coming up in just a moment, I'm going to give a call to my buddy Kevin Hastings. Tell me if you're ready, Kevin. I was trying to give you ready and give you time to get ready for your show. And I don't want to butt into your show, but I got some questions for you. So when you're ready, let me know. I'll give you a call. We'll have a little chat. And if you got questions for me or whoever may join me, put them on the board. I'm looking for your input. It's, the great thing about this chat room is I will come sometimes to the chat room. There's not a show going on, but people are still in the chat room talking baseball. It is freaking incredible. I love it. So let's talk a little Texas Rangers. Let's talk a little Josh Donaldson. I'm in a slow draft. This slow draft that Andrea set up. I don't know how many of you guys are in the chat room are in the slow draft. Let me go there right now and let's take a look. Well, MJH Porters, I don't know who that is, but they're on the board. They're on the clock. 3 hours to go. So MUH or MJH Porters, if you're out there listening, let's pick, because Roto